Hi everybody, my name is Mary Gallagher. I'm one of the co-authors of Teach a Child to Read with Children's books that I co-author with Mark B. Thogmartin. Our book is unique in that we combine story reading, phonics, and writing to promote reading success using real children's books and authentic children's literature to promote a love for books. This is a common sense, doable approach to teach your child how to read. We're really happy to tell you that we are featured in Kathy Duffy's 102 Top Picks for Homeschool Curriculum. You can read about that on our website at teachachildtoread.net. You can also read more reader testimonials there, and you can pick up a free copy of Chapter 5 to get started to see if Teach a Child to Read with Children's books is something that you would like to purchase and implement in your home curriculum. You can also join our Facebook group, which is just Teach a Child to Read, and we'll go ahead. There's 3 quick questions for you to answer so we know how to serve you, and then we'll get you started in the Facebook group. Today I want to talk to you about word sorts, why you should use them, and how you can use them. So this is going to be a series of activities that will take you through many days of a lesson using the same sounds that we originally start sorting words with. So basically, years ago, we did a lot of practice on memorizing words, spelling words, and writing words over and over until students memorize the spellings and patterns. We don't believe in doing that anymore. We really believe that this is a better way for children to learn through investigating, through hands-on, discovering things on their own, certainly by comparing and contrasting. If you have ever heard of Marzano is one of the gurus in education that any teacher has studied some of his works and his books. And the number one strategy that he says is like the big bang for your buck strategy for comprehension and for deep learning that he recommends is comparing and contrasting. So it's really great that we do this with words because we help our children really solidify spelling patterns and sounds. It really allows the children to deepen their understanding of these word patterns, and it is going to assist them with spelling and decoding. So we don't want to just get into rote practice. We want to do activities that are fun, engaging, and meaningful, and allow our children to discover this information on their own. So let's practice doing a word sort together, so to speak. This would be an example of some words that I would give you or that you would give your child. You would start out with. These would be written out on just simple little index cards or small pieces of paper, maybe even sticky notes if that works for you, and you can do it on a large piece of paper or a whiteboard or anything like that. So you can get creative with this. Obviously, you can see that we're looking at the oi sound here, the oi and the oy that both say oi. But again, why in different words, and how are children supposed to remember that? So diving deep into these words, playing with them and practicing them helps to solidify when and where these patterns are used. You can see this is more of our not our beginning readers, but our fluent readers who are starting to get into 2-syllable words and some of these more complex vowel patterns. So this activity, like I said, is going to take you through many days. You do not have to do all of them, but you can use some of these. So again, everything I present to you and everything we present to you in our book is always flexible. Take what works for you and use it. This is not rigid. This is not a packaged reading program that says you must do this, then this, then this. If you start working on this activity and you find that your child likes certain things versus others, do those. This is just to give you some ideas. So basically, you go through the list, make sure the students can identify all the words. Read them together, read them to them. Again, if these words are too hard, then this is too hard of a word sort, so you want to go back it up to something that's a little bit easier for them. So you're going to sort the words according to the main pattern. So in this case, I would take all those original words that were all mixed up, and I would sort on one side a column with the words with OI and the words with OY. That's simply all you're doing is sorting by those spelling patterns. And then when your child's done with that, discuss what they notice about the words and allow them to discover some things on their own. If they're stuck, use some prompts and suggestions to help them. One thing they should notice right away, or that you could prompt them to notice, is that OI, when it says oi is usually at the beginning of a word or in the middle of a word, like coin or oink. But oy is almost always going to be at the end of a word, but not always, because look, we have royal, so a little bit different there, but it is a two-syllable word. So those are some things that they might start to notice, or that you can prompt them to notice. Students are then going to make 2 columns in their writer's notebook. This is just simply a notebook where they can write in, and then they're going to write the words they sorted. So now we're getting into some of that copy work. So it's getting that hand-eye coordination and getting all our senses involved, which will help solidify the spellings of these words and help them to interact a little bit more with the words. Now then we go to, that's just all you're going to do for day 1, okay? And that alone by itself is a standalone activity. It's totally great. But day 2, you can do something a little bit different, and you can start to build and add on to day 1's activity. Day 2, you're going to do a word hunt. This is where students search through other reading material to find words with the same patterns, and then they just add those to the list that they already started. So it could be a book that you're reading with them in your guided reading lesson. It could be a book they're reading on their own. It could be some of their favorite books that they just flip through, and whatever they find, they can add it to their list that they already created. That was it for day 2. Again, you're just building, 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 and repeating, reviewing, repeating. Day 3, you're going to do your child's going to do a new word sort, but with different categories. We kind of call this an open sort. So if you're stuck and this is the first time you're doing it, your child may need some help. So maybe you can do like, hey, let's do rhyming or non-rhyming words. Let's sort this into, on the left column, words I can spell, words I can't spell. Let's sort this into words with 1 syllable or more than 1 syllable. Let's sort this into words that are nouns, words that are verbs. Again, whatever makes sense that you might be studying elsewhere in your curriculum or in your program, or eventually students start to get really creative and they see patterns or ideas that they decide how they want to sort them. But here are some ideas that you could use, particularly for this one. And then after they're sorted, you're going to go ahead and just discuss it. So in this case, we decided to sort one column 1-syllable words and in the other column 2-syllable words. And again, we're still just sorting with our note cards or our sticky notes. So we're using these over and over again. Then we're going to go back into the writer's notebook, create another T-chart with columns, 1 syllable on one side, 2-syllable words on the other, and they're going to copy these again. So you see the repeated activities, giving them repeated exposure to these patterns and these words. On day 4, we're going to go ahead and do a speed sort. So students sort the original list as fast as they can. That original list was OI words and OY words. By now, they should be getting really familiar with these words. They've been playing with them, including the ones that they added. Once they're done sorting, you don't time it, it's just for fun, for speed, then have them read the words again, and then go ahead and play a game with the words. You can have, you could make another list of these and play concentration or matching. You could play hangman, a spelling bee, bingo. Those are just some ideas. You be creative. So on day 5, you're going to choose one word from their word sort list and you're going to scramble up the letters. Don't tell them which word it is. It's the mystery word. You're going to have students create new words with these letters to see how many words that they can create. When they're done, they're going to write these new words in their writer's notebook and label it words I made. The bonus is at the end, they want to try to put all those letters scrambled up together and figure out what the mystery word is. So you can have a special prize for that. And then you're going to talk about these new words and the things that they notice, patterns, discoveries, etc. This is really fun to do. We'll go back, we'll show you what this looks like on the next slide. So here's an example. In this case, I took the word destroy and scrambles up the letters. So we just have R-O-S-E-T, D, and Y. And the student's going to make as many words as they can using combinations of those letters. You can see it very simple as the word so, to more complex words with blends like store. And so it just depends on where your child is, and there's no right or wrong, there's no minimum or maximum. Just give them a few minutes to do that. This is really empowering for children to see all the things that they can do, all the words that they can make. And then of course, like I said, you're just going to want to maybe give them a bonus. Don't tell them what the word is, what the mystery word is, but if they can decode it, put it back together, they get a little bonus for that. Now in day 6, we're going to do another speed sort, and this time they're going to write the words again, but this time let's practice ABC order in the writer's notebook. So you've got a couple things going on, you're still sorting, you're still practicing those word patterns, but now they're getting to alphabetical order, so that is a little practice there. Day 7, this is going to be our final word sort, and this is also going to be another open sort, meaning a student can choose. By this time they should have some ideas, or they should be catching on. And when you're finally done, they're going to take a glue stick and they're going to glue all the original cards into their writer's notebook. Okay. If that's not reasonable, you could do it on a word wall as well, like on a big piece of chart paper. So you could put it there, or you could paper clip them in if you don't have space. Day 8, we want to bring in some writing, okay, because writing is an essential step in solidifying a student's understanding. When students can actually use words, then we know that they've internalized them. So we've had 7 days of using some of the same words over and over. So now students can write a short story, a poem, a letter in the writer's notebook, and then use the words using the words from this week's sorting. Now, of course, here's where we do want to emphasize that spelling matters, because we've been practicing these words now. We're on the 8th day. So this is where the repeated practice should pay off. And of course, we know your child knows where to go to look at those words. They've been writing them over and over in their word notebook, in their writer's notebook, and they have them on their little note cards or sticky notes. So they have access. That we should not accept incorrect spelling this time. So reading and writing depend in large part on the strength or quality of how words are represented in memory. You and I both know that a lot of times as adult readers, we're not decoding as we go. We've got a lot of this stuff memorized. We're also not struggling in our spelling when we write a letter or write something, because we've got a lot of this memorized. So in order to get these things into long-term memory, we want to do some activities like this. So the more children know about letter and sound relationships, the more complete the stored mental images are, and the easier it is for them to read and write words. This is particularly important if you have a student who is struggling with long-term memory, retaining these things. Word sorts and these accompanying activities are a really great strategy to use. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions about word sorting, please, you can email me at info@teachachildtoread.net. You can reach out, join our free Facebook group. You can check us out on Instagram. You can go to our blog and get in touch with us there. And again, you can download a free chapter on using real books, which is what we recommend and what really helps our program stand out from other programs and other methodologies out there on the market, because we don't require you to purchase any expensive packaged reading or phonics programs, and we don't encourage you to bore your child with boring black and white phonics readers. We encourage you to use real words and real books in your reading instruction. Thanks everybody. Let me know if you have any questions.